third in a series, Epistemology 103. I neglected to mention one other category of epistemologically challenged individuals, and those are liars. And liars come in many different categories. People lie for all kinds of reasons. They do lie quite a bit, though. There's a lot. There are many people who are distorters, deceivers, self-serving speakers, people who just take pleasure in bullshit. Just shameless bullshit. People who simply have little regard for the truth, or are not willing to make the mental effort to sort out hogwash from factuality. So it could be a lot of things. It could be a character problem. It could be early childhood standards, the ways that people are raised when they're very young, I think have a lot to do with, I think that's one of the most basic things that gets built into one's character very early and solidly, durably, is one's sense of truthfulness and one's respect for truthfulness and one's I would almost call it a will to truth, or desire to be speaking and spoken to and informed and live with truthful thinking, versus people who are indulging and have learned probably by modeling their parents and caregivers and others around them to live in worlds of fantasy, bullshit, half-truth, self-pity. Am I leaving anything out here? The whole, all that kind of dysfunctional crap that ends up emerging as trouble, alcoholism, mental illness, blah, 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 blah. But a lot of that, I think, does either get fixed or doesn't get fixed by the way that one is raised early. One's early childhood, early life experiences, very, very central to one's sense of truth, the truth, truthfulness, accuracy, specificity. And it can go the other way too. I mean, there are people that have very rigid, stiff-necked, sort of, in a case of hyper-precision when hyper-precision isn't called for. You get like these sort of punctilious, tight-assed, we would call them sort of, anal retentive, constipated, constantly sort of irritated with everything personalities that are just, obsessed with the fact or not, and did you get it exactly right or not, and it's just sort of all black and white. So I think there are other types of character problems that really go beyond sort of the quest for accuracy or the quest for truth or the sense of the truly plausible or the verifiable, and become kind of a militant. A militant, obsessive, neurotic scrupulosity. I think in the Catholic faith, people take it way too far. They have a problem known as scrupulosity. But we're talking about a high-quality epistemology, a high-quality set of framing tools and evaluative tools that allow you to deal with other people, deal with your inner world, deal with raising kids, deal with thought in general from a powerful set of reality filters, useful set. People that take it too far in any direction, it's going to lose its utility. They're going to become too loose or too tight. There is a good middle ground. So what I will be talking about as we go along in the next thing is specific tools that I've come up with and specific ways of thinking about how does a very successful thinker, how does someone with a highly powerful, highly useful set of epistemological filters learn those filters, teach those filters, employ those filters, refine those filters, essentially for maximum life success. What sort of filter sets and what sort of internal representations and what sorts of submodality framings and submodality manipulations will allow you to do a really, really good job of it in a way that, it's a very high precision job, CEO level, you might say. What makes a CEO different than everybody else, more or less generally speaking? Epistemology is one thing. A CEO has got to have the best epistemology in the organization, and they've got to be a model for the epistemology in the organization. I think great leaders, in a way, are great teachers of epistemology. That's one of the things that makes a great leader a great leader. I think great parents, too, teach their kids great epistemology. I think the reason kids have a lot of problems is parents either do not understand it well, they are just simply too lazy, or just don't understand the value of it, they don't appreciate the value of it, or it's just something that has never really been presented to them as something to think about. So we need to think about that. If you're going to be a parent, you've got to think about it. If you're running a business, by God, you've got to think about it. Pretty much doing anything these days in this great bubbling sea of liquid manure that passes for knowledge, you've got to have some pretty good filters. So that's where epistemological, thinkological thinking is going to be going as I continue on. And so bear with me, we're getting there, but we've got to develop some bedrock to have this discussion upon.